Hi, everyone. I'm Dan Albers, and welcome here to This Week in Anderson on the Big Guy Sports Cast on USBN Sports. I'm always joined with my co-host, as always, and Steve. Podcast number 10, man. I can't believe we've made it to number 10. And when we did this, I didn't think we'd make it too much farther. It was going to be hard finding guests, but it seems like it's getting easier and easier to find some people to get on this.
We got to keep it rolling, Dan. We got two great guests here, so I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really is a awesome two guys that have a special place in a lot of people at Anderson High School, the Anderson Redskins heart. I know two guys that I loved calling their games and enjoyed, John Runk and Daniel Rod. Guys, you have no idea how much we appreciate you guys being on.
Thanks for having us, man. We've been looking forward to it.
Yeah, this should be fun, and we're going to start off real quick with explain everybody. We'll start with you, Daniel. Just kind of let everybody know what you're doing right now and what you're all involved in.
Okay, I'm currently coaching quarterbacks at Mount St. Joseph University. I was at Coleraine High School, coaching quarterbacks for the last 5 years. Then I coached at Anderson for 2 years right when I got out of college. So I'm doing that as my first year in the college ranks. I never really anticipated coaching in college. The opportunity kind of presented itself to me, and I wanted to challenge myself because I think it's important in coaching that you continue to challenge yourself to get yourself better and move forward. So I'm really looking forward to it. I love the coaching staff over there, and it's local, which is awesome and crucial. So I didn't have to relocate to go anywhere. So,
are you teaching, Daniel, or what are you doing?
I'm not. I'm working at the FLM company with the family.
Okay.
Yeah, part time. So it gives me flexibility to be able to coach at the same time.
Absolutely, that's great.
Very fortunate.
I do know one thing. I think I heard this, but don't you help Vince out a little bit too on his quarterback camps and stuff?
So he does quarterback camps in the summer, and I've always worked them. Unfortunately, he couldn't do it this summer, but there's a couple instances. I think last year when he hurt his knee doing lat pull down or something. I don't know how that happened, but you know how Vince is. I helped him do some quarterback training sessions last year with him, but I stay close to him because I think I've finally realized how lucky I am to have him.
Absolutely.
His football knowledge and just his willingness to help me has been an integral part for my development as a coach. And I honestly can't thank him enough for that. And so I'll go out of my way to help him as much as I can whenever he needs it.
Absolutely. And John, what do you currently? I know you're out of state here. I know you're not in this great city of Cincinnati in Ohio here. You're not where are you living now?
Yeah, I tried. I actually just got married last fall, so my wife is from New England, so I'm
congratulations.
I'm stuck out here, but yeah, I've been up in the Northeast since college. I was living in New York, working in investment banking in New York City for 4 years. And then in late 2017, moved up to Boston and have been working for a private equity firm up there. My wife is actually still in New York, and like I said, we got married last fall, so I think I'm going to be moving back to New York City sometime, hopefully in the next year. This COVID situation obviously altered the moving plans a little bit, but I'm currently in Rhode Island, so you need a big map of New England and zoom in on various spots to know where I'm at, but I'm always on an Amtrak train line going somewhere in the Northeast.
So have you picked up the Red Sox as your team, or?
Oh no! And my office is actually in Fenway, and so it's right around the corner from the stadium. Yeah, so it's a cool area to work. There's a lot going on, and you're close to the games. And my company has tickets, so I've gotten to go to quite a few. But my father-in-law is actually a huge Yankees fan, so one of the big requirements was not to switch over to the Red Sox, which hasn't been too difficult so far. But it's good. Everybody kind of thinks like in the Reds or something is a little bit different. So it's been good to stick with the hometown teams.
Absolutely.
So let's talk. Let's take both you guys back. I mean, I've known both of you guys since you were little. And I got the pleasure of coaching both of you guys, and how much fun that was, and to know the heart and competitiveness of both of you guys. But I want to go back to when you guys were like 10, 11, 12 years old. I can remember vividly you guys, especially you, Daniel, and I think John, you were there too. I'm sure you were. On the sidelines for the football games, being ball boys, and just being around that atmosphere, and having that feeling of like you can't wait till you get there. Talk a little bit about how all that was, and then all that anticipation for you both as you were going into high school.
So a lot of my fond memories from Anderson football come from when I was a manager and a ball boy, because I remember so many things vividly from that experience. And I think I started doing it when I was in third or fourth grade. And I think John came on maybe the year or 2 years after that. So we were together as manager and ball boys for at least 4 or 5 years going up into the high school.
Yep.
And it was an incredible experience for me personally, just because I really got to see up close and personal what it meant to be an Anderson football player and all the time and effort and hard work it went into that. And it just got me juiced and addicted to it, honestly. And it's the only thing I would think about. I mean, we would wake up in the mornings and in the summer as 11, 12, 13-year-olds going to two-a-days to be managers and ball boys from like 6 a.m. until 4 o'clock. And we never skipped a beat. We wanted to do it. We wanted to be there and be a part of it. And not only for that, but it was a great bonding experience for us as a group of friends, because we were together all the time. We were on the football field, just causing havoc, making the coaches mad, kicking trash cans down and locking people in sheds and stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun. And the best part was just being around all the guys and seeing what it was like to be a part of the team and the chemistry and the continuity in that aspect of it. It really opened our eyes. So when we got into high school and we started playing, we fully understood what it meant to wear that name across our uniforms.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what you said about being a part of the team is definitely so true. And it was obviously a very small piece, and we were, in elementary school. So the reality of the role we played on the team was very small, but you did feel like you were already a part of the program. And I think a lot of the traditions and the ways that, Coach Soriano went about everything, you just felt that already, and I just couldn't wait to be a part of it. And I just remember sitting in some of the locker rooms before the games and listening to his pregame speeches and, feeling like you were a part of the team. Yeah, the great pregame speeches and, watching everybody hit the board and run down the stairs and run out there. And I just couldn't wait to be a part of that. And, I think just as we got closer, it was just you already felt like you were a part of the program. And I just couldn't wait to hopefully, uphold those same traditions and, win games when it was our turn. So, it was definitely exciting, when we came onto the scene and got to start, actually wearing the Anderson helmet and stuff for the first time. Just I feel like we had waited so long for that opportunity. And like Daniel said, a lot of the core group of those guys, we had been around each other and had been doing this ball boy thing together. So a lot of us felt the same way and kind of, I think really took seriously the traditions and responsibility, I guess, that we had to uphold and hopefully, take the program to the next level and, hopefully win some big games, which we were fortunate enough to be able to do.
Yeah, I remember.
Real quick, the thing that's funny that I remember is, Daniel, you were a ball boy, the quarterback. My brother Timmy was a quarterback and a ball boy. Jason Bell was a ball boy and a quarterback. It's funny that I know some of the quarterbacks that were ball boys,
Yeah, absolutely.
Crazy.
Very, very cool. All right, so
him and I got in trouble a lot, to be honest with you. We could tell you some stories about that.
Sure.
Yeah, there definitely were some times when we were being a little bit lazy after walking over to McDonald's and we're sitting in the shed or something. But well, that was what was funny is I remember Coach Giesting always putting kind of kicking our ass in gear. And so it was like we'd already gotten some of his coaching in the years prior.
Yeah, that's funny.
That's great stuff. So when you guys, as you went into high school, you already had a step up. You knew what to expect and everything along those lines. And obviously, as Danny mentioned, you guys were, so awesome. Your junior and senior year for football and winning a state title. Talk a little bit about some of the other stuff going through high school playing sports, not just football. I know you guys were 3-sport athletes, and what all you played at Anderson.
John, you go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, I played basketball for 4 years, football for 3 years on varsity, and then did track for a couple years. And I think that really those early experiences in basketball, I played for you as a freshman on the JV team and got to play a little bit on the varsity team as a freshman and started some games as a sophomore. So I think a lot of those early experiences in basketball were really good in terms of just being able to compete and compete against older kids and make some plays and really feel kind of a playmaker and a part of these programs. And when our time came in football, football's a little bit later. We both played a little bit as sophomores. got some opportunities off and on. But I think a lot of the experiences that we had early on in different sports were pretty formative in just giving us the opportunity to, compete early on and have success early on. And I think that just built our confidence and really allowed us to do what we ended up doing in football and going pretty far and having confidence. But I always remember our sophomore year of basketball. I want to say it's one of the furthest that the Anderson basketball team had made it. I think we made it to
Cody East, right?
sectional finals.
Yeah.
I got to play down at UT and Xavier.
Yeah.
Yeah, sectional finals. So, being a part of that was meaningful too. Just, always being part of teams that were going pretty far and winning a lot of games and being a part of successful teams. I think we saw what it took and, how competitive, the kind of grit that you had to have to win big games. We got exposure to that early on in different sports. So.
Yeah. And Daniel?
So I grew up going to every single possible athletic camp you could ever think of in Anderson. No matter what it was, my mom was going to sign me up for it. So I grew up in that area. So I played football, basketball, and baseball. I played all three up until my senior year, and I didn't play basketball my senior year. I still regret it to this day. But just being on campus and being in the athletic realm all the time and competing was really what I wanted to do at all times. And like I said earlier, playing different sports, I think you learn how to compete in different ways, and it allows you to take what you learn in that individual sport and apply it to the other sport. And now as a coach, I always encourage kids, you're in high school one time, play as many sports as you possibly can.
Right.
You have one chance to do it, and everybody thinks you need to be individualized because that's the only way to make it to the next level. I don't think I would have made it to the next level without playing multiple sports. I really don't think I would have, because you don't get burned out.
Right.
You learn how to develop different parts of your body athletically, and
Correct.
you learn how to coexist within a team environment in different sports, because they really are different. The environment that you have in basketball compared to football and baseball is completely different. And one thing I will say that I never got to experience was dodgeball because of baseball. And I know John got to experience dodgeball. That's one thing I wish I would have gotten to do. But
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
And, both of you guys are prime examples of what you're saying, Daniel, being, multi-sport athletes and how that can help you. And, obviously not just in sports, but in the classroom as you guys are building it. And you both went on to play collegiately. John went on to play football at Yale. That's correct, right, John?
Yeah.
Got that right? And Dan, you went on to play at Xavier for baseball. You excelled at baseball. You were the starting quarterback on the state championship football team. So, to your point, Daniel, exactly right. Playing multiple sports, as many, sports as you can, and enjoying that high school experience is what it's all about.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so interesting when I got to college and was just playing football. Is obviously the football experience at Anderson was such a big part of my school experience and athletic and academic experience. It was just the state title run and everything like that. But I never really thought of myself as just a football player. I always had basketball and was doing track and was always competing. And then you get to college and it's all about football. Off season, you're watching film and you're lifting, and it wasn't like, oh, well, I'm just going to play basketball now. So that was actually a big adjustment in terms of changing the way that you think about yourself as not being an athlete, but becoming kind of a focused football player was definitely different. But
I agree with that.
Yeah, and I obviously have to bring. I'm going to bring this up right now because I still, every time I watch the highlights, I get goosebumps, and sometimes I want to cry, sometimes I want to scream and yell and jump up and down. But that Turpin game, playoff game, was
there. It is.
I've been doing these games for a long time, and always the Turpin Anderson games are always classic games. But I'm telling you, boys, that was one of the best high school football games that I've been a part of, Anderson. And John, that was just a great atmosphere. The town was going absolutely crazy. And just talk a little bit about that game and that experience coming from on your side of it.
Where do we begin, honestly? It was a whirlwind leading up to that game just because of all the talk that was going on outside of football. Not even just from us, but from the parents and people in the community. And to be honest with you, we didn't even consider thinking or hearing any of that kind of stuff. We were so focused on doing what we had done up to that point, and that's just preparing for our next opponent. I think that's one thing that we did a really great job of that year is compartmentalizing the season and just making sure that we were focusing on that week's opponent. And obviously with Turpin, we knew who they were. I mean, we were close with a lot of those older kids like Andy Cruz and all those guys. I mean, we hung out with them when we were younger, so we were close with them personally. And going into that game, we really understood the gravity of the situation of the game. Because, I mean, all you had to do is we got out to warm-ups. I remember me and John would always go out and throw with each other on the field before everybody else would come out. And there was already like 5,000 people yelling and screaming at us. And most of the time when we go out there, there's nobody in the stands. And it was almost half full already. So that right there already told you it's going to be wild. And for the game to play out the way it did, I mean, you couldn't write it any better. You couldn't script it any better. And it was really a shame that one team had to lose that game because both teams were so good.
No, it's not.
I'm not saying that.
Hey, I'm being a diplomat. You know that. I knew you were going to say something.
I'm kidding, man. I had to throw that in there.
Yeah, take your politician hat off, Daniel.
I'll let you take over for now, John.
Yeah, no, I think you're right in terms of just being aware of just how big the game was. And we definitely were focused, and it was kind of the next stepping stone on that whole kind of playoff adventure. And getting past that first playoff win was so significant. And then, just knowing that we could eventually be in the matchup and play against Turpin. I just remember being so personally excited because I think it was the year prior, they had gone pretty deep in the Division II playoffs. And like Daniel said, a lot of the guys that we knew, Andy Cruz, Luke Kelly, guys, Verbe brothers that we knew very well and were good friends with from a young age, they'd gotten a lot of notoriety and, gotten college offers and had gotten pretty far in the playoffs. So I was excited to get my chance to go out there and, compete against those guys and beat those guys and kind of, put our team on the map, put myself on the map against them. And, I think we were sort of that season just broadly pretty slept on. And I think Daniel and I were two of the only guys who had any varsity experience going into that season. So I think people just didn't think a lot of us anyway, and their team had gotten a lot of notoriety and recognition. So that definitely was in the back of our minds, I think, or at least for me, just going out there and kind of getting to, showcase what I had and put myself on the map against those guys was a big piece of it as well.
I do want to address this aspect of it. A lot of people have asked me about the last play, the quarterback sneak.
Yes.
There's a lot of confusion with what happened. I don't remember that vividly, but I'm almost positive that it was a spike that was called on the sidelines. But I think I only told half the line. You watch the film, only half the line blocks. The other half doesn't.
I'm gonna stop you real quick. I know you designed that play, and I know that you did an audible, and you said, I'm going to the left. I know that you did that. I know that it wasn't a fake spike, all that crap. I know that was designed by you. When
you're in that moment, you just react. And it's crazy. You really just react to what's happening. And there was so much stuff that happened leading up to that. Me and John had a fourth down connection. I think it was like 4th and 6. We ran a crossing mesh, down motion, ran mesh across. I mean, I was more nervous before that than I was before what happened after that. Because to me, that was really the ball game. Because we were 4th and 6 with like a minute to go on their 30-yard line. And if we don't complete that pass, the game is over. And then there was another fourth down.
It ends up being so crazy at the end that you forget about a lot of those big plays that happen.
Yeah, exactly.
And our spot was the big one.
So well. Yeah. Our defense played so well that game. They got that 3 and out right after we almost completed a pass right in the corner, I think, to John. Hit the pylon.
Yeah.
I mean, defense, even if they give up one first down right there, we probably lose the game because they can run the clock out. And they got a quick 3 and out and got us the ball back right away. And, I mean, that was just our team. We played off each other so well, offense and defense.
Well, if you don't ever, Danny plays that video clip, like 24/7. And if you don't watch that and get chills or
every time
get fired up,
every time.
You're not breathing because it's incredible.
Yeah.
It really is. And then, of course, obviously after that, the state championship game, and, from an old guy that played back in the crap days of football at Anderson I was a part of, and not winning many games. You guys were winning all these games, and I think I only won maybe 4 or 5 games through my career. And to be there at, Paul Brown Stadium, my high school, playing for a state championship, buddy, I'm telling you what, I got emotional and I was crying, before that thing, just to just to see my high, if you would have told me back when I was in high school, man, you guys are going to be a state champions some year. Yeah, right. There's no way.
Yeah.
So you guys, John, talk about that with, you going from your Turpin game and having that big high and not having a letdown, and then you guys make it to the state championship. Talk about how special that was for you being in the state championship.
Yeah, it was extremely special. And I think your point about, how much it meant to you and, a lot of other people I've talked to that had similar feelings. It's just amazing that, I'm so glad that we were able to, win enough games to create something that's special for so many people. And I think looking back on it, that's kind of the big thing that I hold on to about it. And, in the moment, I think I was obviously, very focused on making plays and winning games and being the best player I could be. You kind of have to be that siloed about it. But looking back on it, it's, those are the things that you remember. It's not necessarily the games and the wins and the plays. It's the fact that, we were all able to share something really special and, kind of live in that moment together as a community. And it's so special. And, that's kind of what I most remember about it. But from a game standpoint, I just feel like once we got through Turpin, the next game was almost like we just knew we were going to roll whoever the opponent was. That's kind of how we felt. And I just remember going out, like Daniel said, and throwing before the game. And we were so loose and so ready to go that it just felt like it was inevitable that we were going to roll whoever the next team was. And I think that even carried over into the championship game. It was, I'd never heard of Louisville. I didn't know, what they were about, whatever. It could have been whoever. And it's been funny after the fact to learn about their story, that they had waited a long time to be in this title game. And, their hometown was pretty close to the stadium. And they brought all those fans. That was all irrelevant to me. Like, our confidence level was so high that I really felt like we were going to go out there and roll over whoever our next opponent was. So.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So incredible, so impactful. I mean, Danny has talked about that, and a lot of people in my family had gone to the game, and we've talked about it over the years. And I never played football, but this was about Anderson, how everybody was impacted by it. And I wore my dad's Anderson jacket, from when he was all around Anderson. Unfortunately, he had passed away, and how proud he would have been. So it was a very, very cool thing. And to have you guys on here is such an honor. So the question for both of you guys is, Dan, you've kind of talked about Coach Siriano, leading up to even to today, you guys are both successful in the business world and coaching and, going through high school and everything like that. You had to have had some major influences in your life that has impacted both of you guys. John, I'll start with you. Can you name off, top of your head, a couple people that have influenced you to get to your point where you're at now?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it starts first and foremost, I think, with my family and my parents and my brother, and having the support that I had at home. It was always so instrumental in my success in sports and in the classroom, and both of those things were always equally as important to me, the academic side, if not more. And I think the influences I had at home were so important and really laid the foundation for what I was able to accomplish in both arenas. And my brother too, I had a younger brother who was 3 years younger, and he was my biggest fan. And so, having that kind of at home and, having, him always kind of in the corner and feeling like I had his support and, having a little fan and somebody that always has your back was definitely really important. And, I think something that definitely pushed me to have the success that I had. And then you talk about, people like Coach Siriano that early on, I think, did such a good job of bringing us into the program and, making us feel at home, really kind of, indoctrinating us into the way that Anderson football was and showing us plays. I can still remember going on vacation to Daniel's place in Florida for spring break, and he was talking to us about plays and offense area to install. And
I have no
doubt. Yeah, and so it just kind of being brought in early. Coach Ellis, like meeting the basketball staff early on and getting to know you guys early. I always just felt very much a part of Anderson and felt a part of the athletic community. And, I feel like I always kind of had a big debt of gratitude to everybody for the opportunities that they gave me early on. So.
Yeah, that's good. It's perfect. Daniel?
So similar, my family was a huge influence on me, especially my older brother, because John and I's situations are flipped essentially because my older brother Kenny was 7 years older than me, and I mean, he grew up playing football and soccer and basketball and baseball and all that stuff. So I really just wanted to be like him. I think when I was in 4th grade or something, I dressed up as him as a football player for Halloween. So the writing was on the wall. And all four of my older siblings went to Anderson. They were all involved in athletics. Most importantly, my parents were huge influence on me because they encouraged me to really make my own path, do what I wanted to do, and were always behind me with whatever I wanted to do. And that I feel like that kind of gave me the freedom, the confidence to get after it and really be the best that I could be. And as time's gone on, I've thought back on this a lot. I was very fortunate to have a lot of really good coaches growing up, not even just in high school, but middle school and coming up. They had a huge impact on me personally as a coach. And now that I'm getting older, I see it as a person in general because they really taught me the ideals and the ways that you need to act and approach life, not just competitively, but everything from a relationship standpoint and all that kind of stuff. And I think probably Vince had the biggest impact on me, the biggest influence, just because he took me under his wing growing up as a ball boy. He taught me everything I know about playing the position of quarterback and most importantly, being a leader. That's one thing that he did a really good job of is try to keep me right from wrong because John knows better than anybody I would tend to veer off a little bit, and Vince did a really good job making sure I stayed down that path. And honestly, my friends were a huge influence on me because we all saw things the same way, and we all just loved to compete with each other and compete against other people. And I think that competitive nature bonded us forever, and it really showed us what it was about.
Yeah, no, Daniel, that's a great point. I leave that one off, I think, because I think it's so natural and obvious. Yeah, but it's the being as good of friends as we were, it was definitely really beneficial. I mean, from a competitive standpoint, I think we both wanted to be better than each other in every sport, and so
Right.
There was always that drive, even though we were best friends, that we were always competing and pushing each other. And I mean, I can remember being in the huddle, and if he wasn't throwing me the ball, I would let him know about it.
You know how many times that happened? You know how many times I tell him to shut up? Like, I'm taking a read, dude. I know you're open backside.
Yeah.
That would happen way too often.
Well, I was actually thinking about the Turpin game, the play before Daniel snuck it in when he hit me on a slant. They got the first down and they did the measurement. That was kind of like last play of the game type feel or whatever. And I remember if he hadn't thrown me the ball, I mean, I knew I was going to get the ball because I knew he was going to throw it to me just because we had the trust and such good friends. It was like in that moment, I knew he was going to throw me the ball. So, I
almost went to Truesdale. I almost went to Truesdale, but I know I'd have to hear it from you.
Yeah. No, I know, but the trust we have with each other, I mean, we always were pushing each other and always brought out the best of one another. So that's a great point.
Yeah, obviously, guys, times now have been really difficult for a lot of the kids with this COVID going on, and things are tough. I mean, they're a lot, maybe even more tougher for us than we ever had it. What would each one of you guys, you guys did a lot, John too, and Daniel both academically, socially, just living that life. You guys said play as many sports as you can. What would be some of your advice to some of the, the kids now and trying to help them and guide them in the right way?
In regards to just life or
just everything, just, playing sports, studying, being with your friends, just that balance and trying to balance things out.
Set goals for yourself. Really set goals and work to reach them and build relationships, honestly. And block out all the noise. Because nowadays you go on Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff, and everything you see is negative. Mm-hmm. Block all that noise out and just really focus on what's in front of you and just keep moving forward.
That's great.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. And, I think particularly for this time period where there's so much uncertainty for kids and there's a lot of things moving around, it's a little bit easier to fall into the trap of, hey, I'm just going to play video games or lay around with my friends. But I wish I could take credit for this, but I did read it from Mark Cuban. But I thought it was just a great thing. And it said, anybody coming out the other side of COVID, should be asked, what did you do to better yourself during this period? There's so much downtime, for a lot of kids. And people looking for jobs, whatever the situation is, come away with a tangible thing or two that you've been able to take the time and improve on, develop a new skill, and really kind of come out the other side better than you were before this, and don't get overwhelmed by all the uncertainty and a lot of the anxiety that's going on, and really use it, kind of take it as a blessing and find a way to be better on the other side.
Good. That's good advice.
It's perfect. It's not surprising coming from either one of you guys. This class acts, quality guys. All right, so I think we're almost winding down here, Danny.
Yep. Getting close.
One question I have here is, and this may be a little tougher, so kind of off the beaten path here for both of you guys, because obviously we talked about the Turpin game and the state championship game, and you guys growing up being ball boys, things of that nature. Is there any, like, something that people don't know about you guys, a favorite memory from, it might be something happening during the school day or, another event or something like that, some favorite memory that you can reach back to high school days and remember that somebody would not know that much about coming from either one of you guys?
Honestly, Geestingville's. I had a conversation with Patrick Colmeyer about that the other day. It's still related to athletics, but the Geestingville pep rallies that we had our junior year leading up to in the playoff runs were some of the most fun I had in high school. And I don't know if you guys were there, but
no, explain that.
I mean, they were crazy. So, John, you can explain a little bit better than I can.
I wish there was more film of it. I can't believe it doesn't feel like it was that long ago, like 10 or 11 years ago. But there's no film of this stuff.
Norwell was smashing a car with a sledgehammer.
Yeah, there were these really great bonfire pep rallies that happened on Thursday nights, and the student turnout was awesome, and they were just a lot of fun, and different people would speak and get fired up about things, and it was so great, and I think really just set the stage for a lot of the school pride and just living in the moment and how great that run really was. And I can't believe there's no video footage of this.
There's gotta be.
There has to be somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, we're digging up a bunch, so there's got to be something out there.
Hopefully it uncovers somewhere, but yeah. I would also say just I guess it's not a surprise, but I was always a little bit more academically oriented, and I really was able to build a lot of really strong relationships with some of my teachers at Anderson. Mrs. Davidson is one, Mr. Fuller is one, Dr. Perrin's another. There were so many great teachers I had that I've been able to keep relationships with over the years, and it was great a couple years ago circling back up and just touching base with some of my old teachers. And I don't know, for any current student athletes that are listening, make sure you don't take for granted the good teachers that are at Anderson. And sometimes you're just focused on athletics and the game and stuff, but those people really care. And a lot of them were the most supportive people during our playoff runs and a lot of what we did athletically. So make sure you give those people the love they deserve, because there's a lot of really good teachers at our schools.
Great advice, man. You guys, that's some great stuff.
Daniel's got something.
I do have one. Just came to me. Being a Camp Curran counselor was a lot of fun and a really rewarding experience for me. And I think Bob was one too. Just because I remember going to Camp Curran when I was younger and having some of the older guys that I knew that were close to my brother and sister's age, and having the opportunity to do that myself when I was older was a really rewarding experience, because it kind of pulled everything full circle for me. Because you're in elementary school, you look up to these people, and then you're in that position, and you realize they're looking up to you. That was a lot of fun. That was definitely a lot of fun.
That's very cool.
Yeah, so we're gonna try to wrap this up, and I got one thing I know that you guys know that we're doing, and we kind of talked about it a little bit before we went on air, is Patrick Colmeyer and myself are doing this documentary on the history of Anderson High School. I'm telling you guys, there's so much material and so much stuff, but I want to tell you something. It's really, really, really cool. And I can't wait for you guys to see it. There's a lot of work, and we've been working on this for 4 years or more, or I don't even know how long. And it just seems like every time we get to a point, but I think, that's one thing that I can say right now is they might be able to take something away from us, but they can't take away our tradition, and they can't take away the bond that we have together. That's one thing I know that will never be taken away in this documentary. It's going to show the special bond that we all have. And I just want you guys, I appreciate everything that you guys do to help us, for the alumni, and just making Anderson high school a special place, and you guys are a big part of
Absolutely.
it. Steve, you're a big part of it too, and I just wanted you guys to, I know you guys a little bit. If you want to talk about the documentary, I think you've been involved in some of it, Daniel. John, I think you might have been a little bit too. I think Patrick might have got a hold of you. I'm not sure.
Yeah. No, Patrick's a good friend of ours, so we kind of followed the process very closely, and I've seen a couple sneak peeks, and I'm glad you brought it up because I was going to say something similar. I mean, it is really cool, and I can't wait till it gets released because I think people are just going to be amazed at the quality and the great work you guys have done. So.
Well, Patrick, I'm telling you guys, hands down is unbelievable. I'm helping with a lot of things, but Patrick's been putting a lot of hours and a lot of man time in there, doing a phenomenal job. But Daniel, I know you're a big part of it, and talk a little bit about that too.
I actually just got done. He sent me like a 21 minute, like kind of like a rough draft, just a part of it. And I watched it leading up to this, and I got goosebumps like 4 or 5 times just because it really captures everything that's Anderson football. And it's not just the good years. It tracks all the way through, and it really shows you all the people that went through the program. And just the way it's done, having Chad Cunningham narrate some of it was it's going to be incredible with that. And just the amount of work that you guys have put into this. Like you said, you've been working on it for 4 years. I mean, it's going to end up being like 3+ hours long. And everybody that has ever had anything to do with Anderson football, or even Anderson in general, should watch it because it will give you so much pride just being a part of Anderson, just watching that documentary. It's incredible, especially with what's going on now. I mean,
you got to find the pep rise now because that's
someone's got to have them. Someone has to have them.
No, it'll be on there, and I'm really excited. I mean, there's just so much. We were going to try to limit it to like an hour and a half, and there was just no way. And we just, after watching the Michael Jordan Bull thing, we thought, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's just make this into 4 or 5 little episodes, and that's what we're going to do. And that's only a partial episode, half of an episode that you saw.
It's crazy.
I mean, and I'll tell you guys, this is the thing that was really cool for me was Charles Brown's son came in last year for the big 80-year reunion, and to sit there and talk to Charles Brown and hear all the stories about all the old teams and all the things that his dad did. And so we got him on there. We got, guys in the 40s. We got guys in the 50s. And to hear those stories, guys had no face mask. I mean, and to hear those stories and the pride that they have for our program, it's pretty cool. So, but, Steve, I know, pretty special for us to be doing with these guys, and we got to cool.
As we said before, we could probably talk to these guys for hours on end.
I was gonna say, we're done already.
Well, we went well past our time limit. Thank God I paid for that extra money for the Zoom because I knew you guys were going to be coming on, so I had to pay that extra money. So,
listen, I do want to say it's great to see you guys, and hello to your families. And it's good to get an update on you guys. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be watching this to see what you guys are up to, and I'm not shocked or surprised about how successful you guys are. It's always a pleasure to see you guys.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thanks so much for having us on. And, I really mean it. Coach Ellis, thank you for, the coaching that you gave us early on. And Dan, thanks so much for, carrying on the torch and really doing these sorts of things and, making the tradition live on. I think going to school in the Northeast and meeting so many different people from different areas of the country, it just really kind of showed, how lucky we are to have, the type of tradition and program and people that we have in our community that are willing to do this sort of thing. So, I'm deeply indebted to you guys, and I have a lot of gratitude for the stuff you guys do. So thank you.
I appreciate that.
Thank you so much for having us on. I just want to end with this. Once a Redskin, always a Redskin.
Oh, there you go, baby.
I will say that till the day I die. Even if the name changes, that's something that we always said growing up. And that's
right here, baby.
Yeah. Right. If you guys can if you guys can send me one of those shirts, I would love to get one.
I love that you're wearing that.
Guys, listen, we've got 3 different shirts that we're in the process of making. One is going to be this Once a Redskin. We're going to have a Redskin head with the American flag on it, and then I'm doing an 80-year football one with a head, and we're going to do the total years of Anderson football. So we're getting ready to release that here sometime soon, and you'll see it, and we'll get it out to everybody. But one more quick thing before I go, I just want to say to your parents, both your parents, have just been phenomenal to me, and I love your parents. And that's what makes this community so great, is that your parents did great jobs with you guys, and I appreciate that too. And it just as Steve's dad was with me. That's what makes this community so great, and I really appreciate it. You guys. Thank you for joining us so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having us on.
So much fun. All right, so for Steve Ellis, Dan Albert, myself, Daniel Rod, and John Runk, you've been listening to This Week in Anderson. We'll catch you next week.